David. So David, take it away.
Yes, thank you again. So today's topic is going to be how to publish your first book as a edgy hacker. And I have an advice for you. It's a pandemic, you can go outside, so we are all watching Netflix and so on. So I watched this great movie a long time ago. And it's called The Bucket List, and it's Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. And Morgan Freeman is a mechanician, and Jack Nicholson is a really rich guy. They are ended in a hospital room, and the doctor say, "Okay, you have only 6 months to live." So they start to realize, "Oh, we need to do stuff," and they started to jump from a plane, go to travel, do some crazy things. So when I watched this film, I write down my own bucket list. But the thing is, if you pay attention, everything is about traveling. So this year, I was like, oh, I need to complete a task on my complete list. Let's write a book. That's a cool achievement for my life. My name is David, and I'm working as a freelance React Native developer. I like mentions on Twitter, so you can mention me to at Flexbox with an underscore. And the presentation of today is online if you follow this bit.ly. Okay. So why I'm doing this talk? Because in 2012 I already started to write a book. Problem was an epic fail because I never finished it. Nobody reads it, and I didn't have any momentum. I started to do too many things. My ambition was to create the ultimate book to rebuild your website, but it was too ambitious. So today we are going to cover how to create, distribute, automate your book, and most important thing, repeat the process to create a momentum. We are going to start with this how to write it. But first, I'm a developer. I need to find the perfect tool to write. And as a developer, I'm using a text editor. And mainly, it's great because when you are only writing text, you write text like this. And it's a tool called Markdown. And when you write in Markdown, you can export the content in slides like this, or you can create PDF like that. So that's a bit for the context of my writing experience. And there is a lot of tools to do that. There is Word, Pages, other things like that, but I'm always frustrated because people don't really know how to use Word and style, and it drives me crazy when people are, "Hi, David, can you help me on this little text?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, you are writing Word, but you are not using the style, so all your design is not consistent." That's why I don't like this. There is other tools like Google Docs or Grammarly, but they are mainly online. You have a lot of features. It's not minimalist. I don't like it. And you have other developer tools like Sublime Text, VS Code, and things like that. But it's for writing code. It's not really for writing text. And one day, I discovered this tool called Ulysses app. And their mission is to create the ultimate writing app for the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. And to be honest, it's true. To be honest, I tried all of this, and from a writing experience, they have the best experience. And it looks like this. There is not a lot of features, but on purpose, and they are only focused on let you write quickly some text. And one of my preferred feature is like you can So this is the text I'm writing down here. And when you export, you can export it to text. For example, this is all the content in text. You can export it in HTML if you want to create a website. You can export it in EPUB. If you want to publish on Amazon, you can export it to PDF or even docx. So you get the idea. You can export, you can choose a theme, a style, plenty of different features. For exporting content, it's the best app. So I can finally write my book. It's fine. I took the entire year to find the perfect tool to write my book. We are the 23 December. Let's do it. I spent around 10 minutes to write down the summary about the React Native ecosystem. What is JavaScript syntax? What is React syntax? The JavaScript language, data structure, general API, TypeScript, all the buzzwords I can find. And that's it. Like, I don't overthink about it, just write, and that's it. And I wrote as fast as I could. Every time I was writing something, I was like, it's not perfect. Maybe I need to find better example. Maybe I read. No, I'm going to write it as fast as I can, even if it's not perfect. And when I was finished, I was frustrated because from my perspective, the content was not really good. But there is no point to continue working on the content if nobody is interested by the first draft. Like, okay, perfect. We're going to go to the step 2 about design. And for designing, I'm using Figma because Figma is like Google Docs for designer. You can work together on the same document. It's a tool for doing UX and UI, and you can work together in the same time. From some people can write down the text, you can add the icons and so on. It's an amazing tool. And I needed to create assets for the book cover, for the logo, the banner, the social media post, images, whatever, plenty of different stuff. So I started to create, to write down the text. You just open Figma, you create a new frame with F, you type your text with T. And I am using this because I already have some text style for my website. And I can share the styles from my website to this cover. And it's great to have like kind of consistency across all your digital products. In this example, the font is the same and I'm using the same font here on my description, on my website, and on my book. All of this is did with Figma, done with Figma. And at the beginning, my text was the roadmap to become a React Native developer, and I immediately share it on Twitter, on Slack, and one of my friends said, "Oh, you should rename it to Road to React." And I'm like, yes, this text is simple. I should do that. And after half an hour, I ended up with this. And if you want to have a look, it's online, so you can. That's what is super great about Figma. It's like you can share it directly with people to have some quick feedback. That's it. I done the text, I done the design, and now I need to do one of the most important things from a business perspective. It's about distribution. And logistics is complex because we are in the 21st century. People use Amazon every day. You order something, you have it the next day. With Uber, you push a button, there is a car driving in 10 minutes. And for my little project, creating a book and sell it, I need to have something for the payments, the refunds, the analytics, a lot of different complex things. And that's why I'm using a tool called Gumroad. And with Gumroad, you can basically start to sell your product in a minute. You just create an account. You can create an audience, sell product. You have analytics, a lot of different things, and it's free. It's good. So you create an account. You export your content from Ulysse as a PDF or an EPUB, and you import your file on Gumroad. You add a nice cover design from Figma. You define a random pricing. For the pricing, I didn't spend, I spent, I think, 10 minutes. I was just Googling stuff from Gumroad, and I took a random one. I was like, okay, let's do if it works. To say it for the landing page, you can use the Gumroad landing page. I mean, it's working like a charm, but I am a developer, so and my job is to create website and web application. So of course, I spend a little bit of time on creating this landing page with a nice copywriting, and I can do whatever I want. So I use another tool to start the conversation. It's called Loom. Basically, it's helped me to create this awesome, I don't like it, but it's working when you can play and say, hi, my name is David. Whoa, if you are interested, blah, 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 you can contact me if you have any questions. And for other criteria of success, you need to have some real-time KPI, key performance indicator. And my indicator is the number of people who download the book. But the thing is, if every time you have an email notification, it's become a nightmare. So I decided to use a tool called Slack. But I need to have all my KPI indicators at the same point, in the same space. But you can't have the Gumroad notification directly on Slack, so you need to use a tool called Zapier. And if people want to know more about this tool, we have an awesome lunch and talk about it. You should just ask to Logan. He's gonna directly send it to you. Or you can just Google, check the YouTube channel. We have the talk on it. So to connect all these different things, I use Zapier. So you can connect Gumroad and Slack together. And every time I have a new sale on Gumroad, I am sending me a new notification on Slack. And it looks like this. So when I share the link, I can see, okay, so I share the link on LinkedIn, for example, and for one day, 1, 2, 3, 4 people download the book. So LinkedIn looks an interesting things to explore. So now we need to talk about the growth, because we have the content, the design is great, we have a system to distribute, but now that's the hardest part. You are in a war. Imagine you are the Helm Fortress, there is thousands of orcs and you need to survive in this world. It was horrible for me, but I started with that. The first step was the chasing friend on WhatsApp. Basically all colleagues were like, hey, how is it going? Happy New Year. Hey, I did a book. What do you think about it? Every day, I think 10 people, I don't really remember. After this step was completed, it was on Slack. I sent one-to-one conversation, one-to-one messages, and spamming all the different channels, but without using @channels, because you don't want to annoy people. After that, I started to share it on Facebook groups about React Native. For people who don't know what is Indie Hacker, Indie Hacker is a community about people who are doing product as indie. And I'm really big fan of this community. You have plenty of different advice about startups, numbers, metrics. Yes, I made my 500 sales in revenue. Yeah, plenty of different super useful informations. And it's great for me. I use it because I can have feedback. I am keeping some milestone to see if I progress or not. And it forced me to write down the context of my book. And I have some feedback. So for example, you can see I have 12 followers from my React Native project book. So that's great. And for example, here I am going to hide a milestone. I made a talk about the book. And it's gonna give me some exposure on the React Native, on the Indie Hackers community. I used Reddit as well. So Reddit was pretty impressive. I had like, I think 15 sales in one day just sharing this link, even if nobody liked it. I wrote a Medium article and it was not great. I think I have only one sales when I wrote down the article, but the article is about how this event. So I don't know. I probably should refine the content, but with my KPI system, now I can see on Slack if my actions have impacts or not. And in the IT industry, when you want to deliver quality software, you need to have sort of feedback loop and iterate on the product. So my feedback loop was people download the book, I wait 1 or 2 days, and after that I can send them an email and ask them for a review if they like it or not. So you can create a system about it. You can use Gumroad. When people download the book, with Zapier, you connect MailChimp. MailChimp is a platform to send them email. But Logan, I didn't have time to do it. Sorry about that. Normally I'm the automation hacker, but I was like, yeah, I need to set up MailChimp. So my backlog was just when I have a new sale, I wait a day or two and I send them manually an email and I just tick the box if I do it or not. So it's drives me crazy because sometimes I need to send 12 or 10 emails manually. I will work on that, I promise you. So the email is like, thank you for ordering the book. Can you please complete this form on Airtable? And we are going to see what is Airtable. Or simply answer to this email, because some people don't like to fill form. They are just going to answer by email, which is fine because we want to have feedback. And what I am asking them, I'm asking them to fill a form with a net promoter score. So what is the net promoter score is a note between 0 and 10. And if people have 9 or 10, they are promoter of your product. They are going to become ambassador of your product and they're going to share it with the world. And that's what we do, what we want. And if you have 0 or 6, they are detractors. So that's not what we want. And with Airtable, it's like an Excel spreadsheet on steroid. You need to have like 5 different fields, an email, a rating, why they write this rating, how to make it better, and if they have any other things to write. So on Airtable, how it's working, you open that, you open a new base, no, I don't want to start with a new template. I want to start from scratch and my database is going to be feedback. Okay, So we said we want email rating. So this type is going to be email. Okay. We want a rating. Rating is rating between we stars 0 and 10. After that, we want y, and the other are the same. So it's going to be text, long text, enable y. Okay. And for the other, you get the idea. So great. You can write it manually, or you send an email to this guy, give me this note, or you can go here, create a new form, open the form, and boom, you have instantly a form where people can filter. So I love why, because David gives great advices. Okay, you submit. And voila, you already have the record here. So that's why I like Airtable, because it's a super nice tool. And at the end, you can connect your database to Slack. And you have the same as Gumroad, you're going to have a filter, notification, sorry. And for example, this guy say, the document is not great, give me 2 of rating, which you can say, horrible. But I ask why you give me a note of 2. And he says, because there is no introduction. So yes, I know since day one, I didn't write an introduction. I just started directly to here, React Native JavaScript syntax directly. And when I was writing down the book, I was like, I should probably write an introduction, but I was not sure. So thank you. Now I know I need to do it. And that's it. So as a recap, my definition of success is done because I have the version 1.0 is finished and on production, and 30 people read it, which is kind of a cool achievement. I have a momentum because I have a loop of feedback every time a new person is reading the book. I'm asking some feedback, and I can improve the content for everyone. And with Gumroad, everyone is able to download the new version of the book, which is great. I used Ulysse app for writing the content, but to be honest, you can use plenty of different things. I use Figma for designing the cover and all the designs. I use Gumroad for the distribution, Zapier to connect different services, Slack to have a feed of all the notifications, and Airtable as a database for my feedbacks. So if you want to have a big picture about the React Native ecosystem, you can go on this URL and download the book. And please give me a feedback, because not all people are giving me feedback, which drives me crazy, but it's fine. So if you have any question, I'm Flexbox on Twitter, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.